my career, I worked for different organization, mainly in France. So 5 different schools and universities. And currently, I'm a senior professor at Cage Business School, which is one of the biggest business school in France. So we have almost 15,000 students located in two main campus in France, which are in Bordeaux on the west coast, Atlantic coast, and Marseille, which is on the close to Côte d'Azur on Mediterranean Sea. But we also have a campus in Paris, in the capital, which is growing. So we started some bachelor programs there, and we try to expand. And we also have a number of Master of Science in there, and these programs are expanding. So we are getting more space and more students in Paris. Then we also have a very small campus in Toulon. Toulon is a small city which is close to Marseille. And we also have some joint ventures in China and Africa. So in Africa, we in fact present in two places, so Dakar and Abidjan. So we by now we have about 220 professors, which is also quite a lot for a business school. And one of point of importance of the research at our school, it's that last year we were in the top 50 in subject ranking of Shanghai in business administration. So we were the first French business school, and in all subject related to the topics of research of business schools, there is only 3 French business schools ranked in top 50, so we are quite proud of it. And for me, it's also kind of important topic, or let's say important point to mention, because I have just finished my 5 years term of as associate dean for research at the school. So we moved from 150 place to 49, so we gain more than about 100 places in 5 years. So quite happy about this result. And also because of this, let's say, management administration duties passed during the last 5 years, probably I was a little bit less active in research, but still I am able to present some contribution to you, and I will be happy to start new collaborations now, because I have more time for my own research. So this is the kind of photo of the universities where I spent some time. So I've been invited to for some visiting periods. And yes, normally there is somewhere Tswane University of Technology, where I've been invited for a seminar 10 years ago. Then it's a kind of representation of my academic network. So in green, this is the countries where I have some collaborators and that I could visit. And in blue, the countries where I have some collaborators, but I could not visit yet. So we mentioned my journal commitments. I'm currently associate editor for 3 international journals: IISE Transaction, Omega, the International Journal of Management Science, and Journal of Manufacturing Systems. And I edited six special issue, and just now we are launched another one in Annals of Operational Research, another journal. I also received some funding from different entities, and today in particular I will present some results within the Maya project, which is international academic in manufacturing systems, and working in particular on the question of the aging population in Europe and how the production systems can adapt to this shift in working population, how new technology can be used to help this transition in manufacturing activities. So this project was funded by European Commission. So I could supervise about 18 PhD students, and 15 of them have been successfully graduated. So I still have 3 PhD students under my supervision. I'm author of about 262 scientific publication of different types, and since 2020 I'm continuously cited in 2% Impactful Scientist by Stanford University and Elsevier. So this is all about me. Now we can move to the Industry 5.0. This is a new paradigm for the development of manufacturing systems and industry in whole, introduced in 2020 by European Commission. So during pandemic times, they came out with this proposal of moving industry only from technology oriented, as it was seen in the concept of Industry 4.0, to more human-centric organization of industry and more holistic integrations of the needs of the society and also value for stakeholders. So when we talk about Industry 5.0, usually we mention 4 main pillars of this paradigm. So first one remains the same as for Industry 4.0, which is digitalization. And of course, with the development of technology and also artificial intelligence, more and more processes in industry could be digitalized and finally optimized according to some traditional performance criteria as cost or efficiency, for example. And paradigm of Industry 5.0 brings some new performance criteria to these conventional ones. So in particular, we usually highlight three main characteristics introduced for this paradigm, which is human-centric, resilient, and sustainable. So the first objective of this paradigm is to keep the human in the loop and address the human needs both on the workshop floor, but also keeping the decision power to human decision maker in the area where a lot of processes can be, of course, automated. So first perspective is to keep industry human-centric at all levels. So at levels of workers, when we need to take into account the human constraints in the working environment, both physical workload, but also cognitive workload and other psychological factors in order to improve the workplace and create the condition for human empowerment at work. The second characteristic is the sustainability of industry. So human-centric approach already contributes to the social pillar of sustainability. Traditionally, we have the economic pillar of sustainability, of course, for the development of the industry, and the last pillar of sustainability is environment. And so the Industry 5.0 put the focus also on the necessity to address the environmental constraints and take into account the possible negative environmental consequences of the industrial activities. So from on the all levels as creation of waste, pollution, water consumption, etc. And finally, the last pillar of Industry 5.0 is resilience. So we suffered a lot in Europe from the disruption created by COVID pandemics. And since this time, there is a lot of at least talks and research contributions in order to evaluate the resilience of manufacturing systems, but also of supply chains, in order to prevent these disruptions in the future. And as we can observe now with geopolitical situation, with all these decisions about the tariffs, global trades, we have the feeling to be again in face of multiple disruptions that can occur on in supply chain. So it will be a kind of crash test for the advancements made since we had started always talk about the importance of the resiliency, because at the end the resilience comes with some additional cost. So each company should decide how much they want to invest to keep a certain level of resilience. And this trade-off, it's not very easy to find because of the uncertainties about the future disruption quite difficult to evaluate. So now my idea is to go in more details into each pillar of Industry 5.0, also showing some contributions that to which I can participate to this field. And so we can come back to more details if we have questions. But of course, a lot of the introduction of this paradigm create a lot of open questions for research and open space for the development of new management approaches, and also the changes in all the decision-making processes we had at all levels of manufacturing systems, starting from strategic level and finishing with operational level. The changes need to be introduced at all levels of decision making in order to support these global goals of reaching more human-centric organization, more sustainable performances, and more resilience. So let's start with the first one, human-centric pillar. And for this one, I would like to start with some history about the development of manufacturing systems. So one of the main change in the organization of production systems was introduced already 100 years ago by Henry Ford in his assembly lines, where for the first time we could see the application of the division of labor and assignment of tasks to workers in order to improve the efficiency of the production system. As you can see in these small tables, this innovation was very efficient, and at this time, since the production of Henry Ford in only 15 years was multiplied by 20 times without changing of the product, without changing so much the supply chain, just by reorganization of the production system, he could achieve impressive result in terms of productivity, and also he became the richest man in the world at this time. But as you know, it was very efficient, but it was also completely optimized for only one model of the product. So the famous Model T. So when you have 2 million identical cars produced by year, and you don't have the automatic device to open your car, so when you go to the parking, you need to find your car in the mass of the identical cars. So of course, customers wanted to have more diversity, and the next important change in the organization of manufacturing system was realized by Toyota production system, in which they can marry the efficiency. Sometimes, since because they visited also the American plant, so they could also copy some efficient ideas implemented in American assembly plants, but they introduce other concepts which were really required for them in different Japanese context where the space which this was much more limited and resources as well. So with different conditions, pushed them to create also very efficient management of resources, and in particular the different inventories in the system, which help them not only to keep the efficiency of production system, but also introduce the diversity expected by the customers. So it was the second big change in the production systems, and then we also have also seen the development of what we called reconfigurable manufacturing systems, in which not only in assembly context, but also in manufacturing and machining context, we can achieve much more flexibility and having more options to adapt to the diversified customer demand, which with development of globalization become much less stable and much more changing. So the cycle times of different products have been shortened a lot, and manufacturing systems needed to adapt with these short changes in the short-term changes of customer demand and also customer expectation. So the introduction of new products. And if we look at these different systems in terms of introduction and in terms of consideration of human workers and human factors, so the initial systems of mass production of Henry Ford, the distribution of the work was quite what we called later as a Fordism. So it was not paying so much attention to the different human factors. The tasks were given to the workers, and the workers needed to execute this task, and the expectation on them were just to complete the work as soon as possible and without errors. So already in Toyota production system, the lean manufacturing and lean management had a little bit different approach to the role of the human workers in the production systems. So as you know, in the lean management, there is a lot of expectation from the workers in the production system on the ideas how to further improve the process in the following the concept of continuous improvement. So in this system, and let's say in classic implementation of lean management, the workers are not only expected to execute the task, but also think about the execution of the task and submit some ideas how the process can be further improved. And when we moved to more digitalization in the production systems, some of these ideas were used to create the automation of the manufacturing processes, and some let's say a lot of approaches of artificial intelligence, they're still based on some data from the past. So this expert data can be used in creation of the new processes realized in the management of more digitalized production systems. And nowadays we can use the new technology. They can not only help to understand how the process can be further improved, so following again the concept of continuous improvement, but we can also use technology in order to evaluate how hard the work is for workers, and also use some technology to reduce the perceived physical workload and also cognitive workload of human operators in production systems. We can also, so when we talk about human-centric production systems, it is not only about human workers and human decision makers, it's also about the value delivered to the customer. So we now, with the development of the digital technology, we can also better integrate a customer in the whole manufacturing process, starting from the design of the product and ending with the production of it. And I would like to start with some examples that how the different companies integrate customer in the design of the product. So, for example, in the past, we had the option of mass customization only for very expensive product like cars. So when you buy a new car, you can choose different options that you want to have in your car. The opening roof or leather for your seats, etc. Now, other types of companies also offer this service to the customer. So you can, for example, customize the perfumes or some watches, when you can choose different design for different parts of the watch. You can do it with shoes, with some clothes as well. You can really, the customer has the possibility to submit the options that they want to the product and get the product will correspond exactly for to his or her preferences. And with artificial intelligence, we can even go further and ask to create. So, for example, we can ask artificial intelligence to create a picture of something we need. So, interact with let's say chatbot about the options that we want to have in this object, and then get just a picture of the products that we would like to have, then go from this picture to 3D model and use this 3D model for additive manufacturing program. So reduce the time needed for very time-consuming 3D modeling of new products by optimizing the process of conversion of pictures in the 3D models that can be let's say further converted in the programs used by 3D printing for realization of the product. So maybe I can go a little bit faster. So my own research related to the human-centric approach in the organization of production system related to the integration of the human differences and the human factors in the work distribution in production systems, and in particular in assembly lines. So moving from the, let's say, fourth approach, when you only have tasks with their durations and we assign them to the workstation, to the approach when we have the information about each worker, it's his or her experience, physical constraints, and we can create and design the assembly lines in which work is distributed to the workers, taking into account the personal capability and personal constraints. So moving from very standard definition of the production system to something which much more human-centric and personalized. So we developed, we can discuss the result if there are questions, but we developed some mathematical models and approaches to design some lines that we tested on the different examples, different scales. So from some engines application going to the design of aircraft assembly lines, which are quite complex. We also worked, so by now I will skip a little bit the results, but we can come back to it. We also work on the integration, better integration of cobots in assembly lines. So cobots are, as you know, smaller robots, robots that can work in collaboration with human operations. So they can work in different settings. They can work in parallel, in sequence, and in support to human operators. So when designing such production systems with cobots and human operators, we need to take into account how cobots can collaborate with different workers to decide how to organize this collaboration, take into account again the diversity of workforce and different constraints or difficulties that different workers may have in a production system. Okay. Also, we developed some mathematical models to help to better design such lines where the cobots work with human operators. So here there are some publication on this topic. I think that I'm starting in a little bit late, but if you don't have enough questions, we can come back to these points, discuss them more details. So as we mentioned, digitalization is very important in production systems and help to improve a lot of performance criteria. But at the same time, digitalization also have an increasing impact on the environment. So both in terms of creation of digital devices, storage of data, and running the algorithm working on this data. All these processes have increasing impact on environment in terms of energy consumption, but also materials which is needed to create these digital devices. For example, for one smartphone, we need 70 kilograms of raw materials extracted in the different parts of the world. And this extraction very often is energy consuming, and the transportation needed to realization of each smartphone also create a lot of CO2 emissions across the world. So one of the efficient way to address this issue is circular economy. So to try to reuse the materials that we have already in all these digital devices in order to reduce the need in the extraction of new raw material. So we also had some contribution to this field, how to organize the disassembly process and with pickup activities of end-of-life digital devices, and also how to organize the reverse and closed loop supply chains, which can handle these end-of-life devices and to use them to create some reconditioning products that can be reused in different contexts, or recycled materials that can be reintroduced in the supply chain for the manufacturing of new devices. And the last part is the resiliency of manufacturing systems. So it's capacity of the manufacturing system to come back to the state before the disruption as soon as possible. So when we talk about resiliency, we need to think about the possible risks that can create the disruption. So the risks nowadays are quite diverse, and by observing the current geopolitical situation, unfortunately, we only can have thought that this risk will not be reduced in near future. So it's very important to take them into account when designing the manufacturing systems and also supply chain and more general level. So there are different nature of this risk, different sources that can be used to evaluation of them. But once we have all these numbers on the risk, probability, and risk impacts, we also need the efficient approach to use this information in the decision making. So we also have some contribution to this field, both to the management of disruption and on the shop floor, like in the case of aircraft assembly lines, but also on the integration of the uncertain information while designing the supply chains, and in particular closed loop or reverse supply chain, which also a connection to the previous point related to the sustainability. So I have impression that I was a little bit short by the end, but I try to save time for the questions as I was asked at the beginning. So I hope that you will have questions so we can use the remaining time for discussion. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you very much, Prof, for that insight into various aspects of sustainable manufacturing in terms of transiting also from Industry 4 to Industry 5 and the various enablers or the pillars of those. And thanks for those examples. I think there are some questions already, and maybe I will just maybe indicate. I know we have like 14 minutes, but maybe we'll stretch it maybe by extra 5 minutes if there are more questions so that we
Yeah,
can
sure, no problem.
entertain all the questions and also engage on the possible collaboration activities. I know you try to squeeze a lot of technical information there. It's understandable. So, but definitely maybe in the future, with future collaborations, we can have more insight into that. So I think with that being said, let me start with, if you have questions, colleagues, you can just you can put it on the chat or you can raise your hand so that we can entertain the question. But maybe as we are waiting for people that have got questions in the house to raise their hand, let's just go to the questions in the chat. So I will start with I think the first one was written in French, Prof. So I won't
Yes,
be able
I
to
can
read
understand.
that.
So the question about the African countries and the fact that it's already difficult for them to reach the Industry 4.0. And I think it's not only language barrier, let's say, but also the fact that this Industry 4.0 is heavily driven by technology, and all technology need significant investments, and so it's not it could be one of barrier for the progress in this field. And I know that in some parts of Africa, even having the constant electrical power is not could be a problem. So when we move to this digitalized production system, it could be also a barrier if these conditions cannot be met. So then when we look at the characteristic of Industry 5.0, I think that even with these barriers in some African countries, it's still possible to make progress on human-centric approach and on sustainability. So even because in particular for the sustainability, there is no absolute value of sustainable performance by now. Even some researchers are working on this point. So very often the progress on sustainability is measured in terms of relative improvement before on the state before and after. So it's always possible to make some progress. And I know that in particular for recycling of reemployment of end-of-life products, there are very interesting initiatives in different African countries. And I think that in fact, in some field, Africa can get faster to the points where in Europe we will we will need more time because we need to change some approaches that we had already in place. While in Africa, for some, in particular for circular economy, I think you can go faster because you don't need to change some approaches. You can just implement some new ideas, some innovative solutions faster, and let's say, starting with the best method from the very beginning. Then I'm not aware in particular of language barrier. So maybe you can precise a little bit what do you mean in particular by language barriers?
I'm just referring to the fact that most of the coding technology, they have specific languages. Like in China, most of the students would be taught in Mandarin, and French students would do everything in French, so they understand the language perfectly well, so they can easily do any kind of technological innovation because they understand their languages first before they can actually maybe even translate anything to English. But in our context, we don't have that privilege of using our own language first to understand all the concepts, for instance, the important concepts that will help us to design or come up with apps or anything like that. So basically what I'm saying, that language is quite a big issue in African countries because we have to actually do things on second or third or even fourth language. So
For
yeah.
this particular point, I think that you can really benefit from the development of AI, which is in particular efficient in translation. So probably now again there's so how this technology is, I have too many thoughts at the same time. So how this technology used, so they you need to realize a kind of learning approach from the documents that were translated in the past. So now you're right, for example, in French, since we have a lot of well-quality translated documents between English and French, the artificial intelligence can be trained very efficiently on these texts. And finally, we can get a very good automatic translation, which can be done by using different technology of, say, natural language processing, but now we call it general artificial intelligence. So probably there is not enough such good quality translations from English, for example, or French to African languages. But if these data can be assembled, and because the algorithm is the same, you can use the algorithms that exist already. The only thing you need to get good quality translation is to have a sufficient database of documents which were translate with a good quality between any African language and any languages, Chinese, English, or French.
Thank you, Prof. I think Prof. Joyce or Doc Joyce is fine. Now we have another question here because I know there may still be some other questions. So let's just maybe go to the next one because we also want you to advise us on the aspect of how to publish in all these Q1, Q2 journals. So let's just quickly treat the other questions. The next question, Prof, in the chat is, what is the best way to ensure that AI generated outputs are realistic and aligned with your customization goals? What is the best way to ensure that the AI generated outputs are realistic and aligned with your customization goals? That is, with the person's customization goals.
So to this question, probably there are two different answers. So first one, somehow related to my previous answer. So in fact, the performance of AI really depends on the data, of the quality of the data which was used for the training of AI. So one of the best way to ensure that the results of AI will be of good quality is to train the AI algorithm of the good quality data, and the data which really represents your customer expectation, etc. So even training of AI can be personalized, let's say, or adapted to each particular context. The second answer to this question, how to ensure the good quality of AI decision, is to keep the human in the loop. So to not let only the automatic answer, but have qualified decision makers in the process that can first evaluate of the quality of solution and also interact with the training of AI to further improve the quality of solutions that it provides. I think we have
There's
one
another question.
hand
There's
raised.
another question. Prof, before maybe the next one in the chat, let's allow Dr. Chiromo. Dr. Chiromo, over to you, then we take the question in the chat. I just want to take it in that order. Over to you, Dr. Chiromo.
Yeah, thank you very much. Mine is a simple one. I just want to have a more understanding on Industry 5.0. From the way you were presenting it, I was wondering to say, what is it that is new in this? Because the concept that we're talking about, the human-centric resilience and sustainability, it looks like there are concepts that have always been there. So what is it that this concept of Industry 5.0 brings forward? Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you for the question. It's quite, let's say, a lot of people ask this question, so it's very relevant question. And in particular, some researchers, they don't agree with the introduction of this paradigm, saying that they are happy already with Industry 4.0. Still, this introduction was made by European Commission, so it's clearly their will to officialize, let's say, these requirements to the industry. So not keep it just to researchers, but create a global framework and ensure that from political point of view, there is a support for development with human-centric and sustainable initiatives in industry. Because as it could be seen from many examples in the past, if there is no political support or even some political constraints, legislation constraints, the industry don't change the way of doing and very let's say remain oriented to the conventional performance criteria such as efficiency, profit, and cost. So it was a kind of officialization and giving political support to these important aspects. But in reality, European Commission, in their definition, they even go further. So in their declaration, they say that Industry 5.0 is no longer oriented to the cost or efficiency, and that the shift that they expect from the industry is not technological, is really more profound, moving from the first orientation to the profitability of the industry to the main objective of satisfaction of the needs of society and creating of the common good. So this is a very big shift in the organization of the society. I don't know if it's utopic or not. At least it seems to be very challenging, but it seems it is seen as the main change between Industry 4.0 and Industry 5.0. No more profitability orientation, but orientation to the creation of common goods and satisfaction of the needs of the society.
Move to the next question on the chat. What, can you hear me?
Yes.
The next question is in the chat is, what is the current progress of implementation of 5IR, the Industry 5.0 in the maintenance sectors? What is the current progress of the implementation of 5IR in the maintenance sectors?
So in maintenance sectors, of course, we have different types of maintenance. We have maintenance of production systems, but we also have maintenance of infrastructures, and sometimes very sometimes maintenance should be done in quite difficult environmental conditions. When you have some offshore, for example, wind installations, and you need to make some maintenance on them with the intervention of human operators, it can be quite dangerous. So in this field as well, we go in the same direction. So use more digitalization in order to predict more exactly when maintenance is needed, in order to reduce from one point to reduce the number of maintenance or operation, and at the same time prolong the life, expand the life of the infrastructure or production system. So with extension of the life contributes also to the sustainability, because we don't need to use new resources for creating new systems. We can continue to use the existing systems if they are well maintained. And we also there is also a lot of research contribution oriented to the take into account human factors in maintenance. So in particular, trying to use also some technology for maintenance in difficult conditions, or for example, in this case with offshore wind energy infrastructure, there are also some works on predicting on better the weather, for example, in order to not send human operators to the installation while when they arrive at place they cannot maintain because the weather is not does not allow it. So we can also use AI not only to predict the best moment in terms of resiliency of the system or reliability of the system, but also the best moment for the intervention of human operators.
Thank you very much, Prof. I think there are no more questions. Maybe just to bring this to hear from you. In terms of, because we know you are chief editors for some of these Q1 and Q2 journals, we just wanted to hear from you because of time. Our time is fast spent. Just to advise us to say, what should we do? Because we know that you are one of the chief editors. What are the things you look at? Because we know with the Q1 and Q2 journals, the rejection rate is very high. And some of us want to hear from you in terms of what are the tips that we need to look into when we want to approach these Q1 and Q2 journals. What should we focus on in our article? Maybe 5 minutes indicating how we can publish in these Q1 and Q2 journals, those good journals that you are chief editors for. Thank you very much, Prof.
Thank you. Thank you for the question. It's quite a general question. So it's then probably if you have more particular examples, the answer can be more, let's say, personalized. But in general, what the problem of all the journals now, it's the number of submission has drastically increased. So since in majority of the journals, the reviewers are not remunerated for the reviewing work. So sometimes it's difficult to find reviewers, and also I have a feeling that a lot of reviewers also trying to facilitate the reviewing work. They also gives more easily the recommendation of rejection, because they know if they reject the paper, they will not receive it again for the revision. So this is a general context that there is a lot of papers, so both editors and reviewers finally will have this tendency to reject the paper in order to reduce the workload if there are enough elements to do so. So how how to increase the chances to be published, I think that the most important factor is to show that your contribution really counts for the state of the art. So you should really show that what you propose is different from what exists already in the literature, and the advice it to quite general advice, it's to highlight your contribution in all places where you can. So from the abstract, it should be clear why this contribution matters. In introduction, should be very clear why it's very important, why this contribution is important, how it changed the state of the art. And of course, you need to have a strong argument to prove that your contribution counts. I think if I answer this question very generally, it would be the main advice to first to make a clear contribution to the state of the art. But sometimes the authors having this contribution still have some difficulties to show the importance of contribution. So it's equally important to do a contribution and to present it in the way that it's very clear for editor and for the reviewers what is the contribution.
Thank you very much, Prof. I think well noted. Thank you. Maybe there's a question from Dr. Miaye. That will be the last question for the day. I see his hand is raised. Over to you, Dr. Miaye, just to ask your question.
Thank you very much. Actually, I didn't have the questions at the beginning, but I felt as Dr. Chiromo raised his concern, I just felt that, you know what, looking at the productivity levels that you are indulging us on, specifically on the side of Toyota and Ford. And today we are talking about Industry 5.0. I'm saying as academics, aren't we not moving too faster to get into the profits or maybe the productivity levels that are supposed to be reached by big businesses? Because I'm saying even the 4.0, we haven't reached the small medium enterprises to incorporate automation in their manufacturing system. Thank you.
So thank you very much for your question. Indeed, I think there is link with previous questions. To be honest, it's a good question to think about if a company should achieve Industry 4.0 first before moving to Industry 5.0 implementation, or if it can move directly to Industry 5.0 without having so heavily automated or technology full organization first. It's I think it's a it's a good question to see if we can move directly from the if we can move directly. I'm not doing the right action. If we can move directly to the Industry 5.0, where in fact the technology is mostly seen as a tool which helps humans in their work, but not replace human work, which was seen as a main, let's say, critique for Industry 4.0, where a lot of people were worrying that technology will just take over and no human work will be needed anymore. So in Industry 5.0, the approach is different. The technology is seen as only a tool to help human workers. But then, of course, the balance between technology and human work, at the end, this balance will be very different depending on the size of the company, depending on the context of implementation, depending on the investment available, and also some economic factors. So I don't know if it's answer exactly the question, but at least it presents some elements for further reflection on the point.
Thank you very much, Prof. I think thanks for the insight. We've learned a lot, and we agreed from this presentation that we know Industry 4.0, just to reiterate what Prof said, it's focused more on technology implementation, which is in terms of implementing this Industry 4, but Industry 5 tends to bring in the human at the center of this technology in terms of how to have proper mix of these depending on various contexts as echoed by Prof. And just like I can also quickly re-echo this, like what we had at University of Johannesburg, we're talking about, we have been talking about technology during the previous era, but now we're talking about technology implementation for societal impact. So adding that flavor of bringing human at the center, that is what I think 5.0 bring on board to that transitioning. So it's just to echo this so that at least the audience also at least hear what Prof is saying. Thank you very much, Prof, for coming. And we also look forward to possible collaboration. Maybe if you can leave your email address in the chat.
Please.
So that
yes, sure.
I will try to put it on the chat for people so that if they want to, maybe let me just ask this, if they still have further questions, maybe Prof, if you can just highlight what are the opportunities if we want to explore, we know you are the associate in that side. What are the possible collaboration opportunities if we want to explore collaboration with your university so that members can hear about that, Prof? What are the opportunities that we can explore with your university? Then we can take it from there.
Yeah, in terms of opportunities, I think just there are
okay, maybe let me ask this, Prof. Can I ask this then? If we really want to, maybe, for example, do as staff members do sabbatical with some of your professors that side, are we allowed to do that? Because these are opportunities, like if some of our staff members want to do sabbatical, like a 6-month or 1-year sabbatical where they're just focusing on research and working maybe on some of your research project there, collaborating with you, is that also possible with your institution? And so also student exchange programs?
Yeah, sure. So for sabbatical, if you come with your funding, usually it's always possible. From this year, we also have funding given by the school to support sabbatical periods, but I think that start like with only one funding available per year, so probably could be high competition, but at the end it's always possible. But if you come just with your funding to spend some weeks, days, or months, usually it's always possible. If you like, for example, to write together a proposal for international funding, there are some fundings program between France and South Africa, so it's possible to apply to this kind of funding. This kind of funding also can support the exchange of researchers between South Africa and France. I think that in some calls of European Commission, South African university can also participate. So this is another possibility. In particular, we are in our project on aging population and manufacturing systems. We come to the end of the first project and we would like to submit a follow-up. And for this project, any university outside of Europe is welcome. So the university does not give the direct funding from the project, but it gives the opportunity for the university to host European researchers coming to work in South Africa. So this could be another opportunity for collaboration, and why not applying for other fundings for also, we have some grants for PhD students, so there is also possibility to co-supervise PhD student if you have some good candidates who would like to do the PhD in France, for example. So I think there are a number of possible ways of collaboration. So if you have willing to collaborate, please don't hesitate to contact me.
For highlighting the areas of collaboration opportunities. I think you've captured your details on the chat, so we'll definitely send you an email accordingly, and we'll try to explore all the opportunities. Thank you very much. Let me just also use this medium to thank everyone. I know our time is fast spent. Sorry for that. It's just to make sure that we at least take this chance that Prof is around to just at least get clarity on all the information we need to foster the collaboration. So thank you very much, Prof, once again for joining the session. We really appreciate it out of your busy schedule. And thanks to the audience for joining this session. I think at this juncture, we'll try to end the webinar now. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a great day. And I hope it's just the beginning of our collaboration. So I will be happy to talk to you again.
Thank you, Prof. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.